Good to go. Well, since I was given a gavel, I'm calling this meeting to order. Jim Cervantes, Chair of CalHFA and the Executive Evaluation Committee, we are fully staffed here. Belinda Grant from representing Business, Consumer Services and Housing, and Stephen Russell, our CalHFA board member on the committee. So welcome all. Thank you all for being here. And with that, Melissa, maybe perfunctory, but I'd like you to please call the roll for the record.
Certainly. Ms. Grant for Acting Secretary Gawa.
Present.
Mr. Russell.
Present.
Mr. Cervantes.
Present.
We do have a quorum.
Great. Thank you so much. And with that, the second item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the last meeting, which was last year. Are there any comments or edits, suggested edits to the minutes from the last meeting?
None.
With that, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I make the motion.
Great. And by our protocol with we approved by consensus. Thank you so much. And then moving on to the third item on the agenda, chairperson's comments. I really don't have a whole lot to say. Just again, appreciate the time and involvement that you both make as participants in this effort to help make CalHFA a strong organization. So thank you, and thank you to staff for being here and for the work leading up to this. Tina, thank you for all your effort and work. And I think with that, I'll just turn it to you because you might have a few comments to add, and I'll step back.
Well, thank you, Chair, and thank you, committee members, for being here today. And specifically for going above and beyond as members of this committee. I know that you all looked at the scorecard. I know you read through the report, all of the accomplishments of the past year. And so I just wanted to say a few words at the top of the meeting. And the reason is that one of the things about this evaluation process is that it kind of helps me to go back and revisit all of the things that we've done, and also sort of set the mark for things that we might want to think about going forward. And the bottom line is, after I've done all of that assessment, I am really kind of excited to share this report to you. So with that, I'll just start by just acknowledging that this has been a challenging year. And I know that you all have seen and felt it just as I have. Every single member of this, what I call the team, which consists of both the staff and the board members. Me and my staff were particularly challenged by things like personnel changes and turnover. Frankly, we've also had some turnover on the board of directors in the past year. And then we've all been engaged in navigating sort of a diverse range of programs and funding sources. Man, the demand on the new programs like Dream for All and ADU, the ADU, unprecedented. And that's not to mention sort of the continued volatility of the market, the financial housing market, and all the work that goes into managing that. And so for an organization to have to deal with all of that and also thrive in spite of those conditions, I think what we needed and while we were able to champion it is a guiding mission and vision, and also a core set of values that I asked each and every member of this team to focus on. And I think personally, that's what brought us through. That is what brought us through. So not just the updated mission and core values, but also the focus on following the path of those principles and not looking to the left, not looking to the right, but looking at what is our expected outcomes? What is our core values? What are we here for? The success that comes from that starts with the top, and it includes all of you and members of the board members, and that I feel now you guys have been gifted to me. I've actually seen the board go through an evolution, and we now have gifts on this board that frankly we didn't have before. I think we can acknowledge that. And I think that has expanded us in terms of our depth and our breadth and the expertise, and that's going to help us navigate through the future. At the same time, it was happening to our staff as well, which was a beautiful thing to be a part of and to see the sausage making. Sometimes it's a little scary, but I have now learned to embrace these folks and the beauty of their passion and commitment to this work. Feeds me. So I'm happy to say that in addition to that, we also got a new deputy director. And I think I'll say it out loud, he settled in helping us to actually improve the strategic direction of CalHFA. And we're now ready to be that forward-thinking institution that focuses on developing financial solutions so that more Californians have a place to call home. That's why I took this job. And that's where I want to take this organization going forward. We're ready. So along those lines, we have secured our best credit ratings in the agency's history. We have leveraged those ratings to raise $90 million in capital from the sale of bonds. A lot of people don't miss that, but what that means is we brought in capital into affordable housing. And I don't think there's any agency in the state of California that's done that. Heck, we didn't do it we haven't done it in 20 years. But now we're on the road to not only capitalize on the investor group that we now have, that is now embracing the California housing needs. And in the next 5 years, we will bring in an additional $1 billion. We're ready. We're poised and ready. And so we've not done that. We've done that. The floodgates for bringing in more money is open. The door is open, and we're poised and ready to take advantage of that to improve California's affordable housing ecosystem. That was at top of mind when I started this job. I think it's also fair to say that if you look at the Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan Program, as well as what is now a national award-winning ADU program, what I learned from that is we have effectively caused sort of an evolution in home ownership as well. Because folks didn't believe that you could do 2,500 ADUs. There were 10,000 or more ADU applications for permits, but only a dozen or so were getting done before this program happened. I think that's why the NCHSA and other members of HFA who are in this business and are trying to make this happen, that's why they gave us the award, because they saw it happen. And now we're getting calls from Hawaii, and now we're getting calls from Texas and Washington and Oregon and other places who are saying, what the heck did you guys do? And show us how to do it, which we're glad and happy to do. Frankly, and the Dream for All, I mean, I'm still getting chills from 11 days, the 11 days that it took to get that much capital. Grateful to the administration for entrusting us, but we got $300 million in capital to folks who otherwise might never have bought a home, period, in the story. Proud of that. I'm personally proud of that. So both of those programs, groundbreaking, large scale. And then finally, I want to talk about two internal areas that I wanted to highlight, starting with the updates that I led to our risk management team, and I entrusted them to actually improve our financial processes. These are things that you don't see, but it's happening. The processes are there. And I'm grateful to a team who accepted those processes and now elevating them. They bought into it. We're now moving things within our organization around so that we can improve those processes and create an audit system that is foolproof, hopefully. It can't be 100% foolproof, but at least we can back that up. And who is recognizing that? The investors. Back to where I started. The investors are backing up. They're saying they love the fact that the staff could sit in a room and have a conversation with them. That is very, very unusual. Normally you have consultants in there and lawyers and this, and it was just us. It was the team that did that. So finally, I want to talk about what I call the elephant in the room. You know, we want to stress that CalHFA is always aligned strategically with the priorities of the administration. That is our number. That's how we start everything. That's the foundation of everything that we do. We're always working to gather stakeholder feedback and to inform our strategic vision. But we elevated that. So I have to give those folks credit for also pouring into us so that we can deliver a more informed product that gives us the outcomes. Because we're practitioners. We just, you know, we work with the numbers, we work with the building part. But until you embrace the folks that are outside of you, the external partners, you really don't have the best product. You have a good one. But I think we have great ones because of the influence of those two factors. That was a lot of work for us in 2 years because I got to tell you, that's not what we were thinking when we started 2 years ago. It's a cultural shift for this organization. And I was here to help them navigate through that. So that work and the now continued focus on CalHFA's mission and the strategy and the forward-thinking financing options. Again, that's exactly what I wanted to do when I took on this job. And I feel like I am where I'm supposed to be. That's all I wanted to share. The numbers are there, the information is there, and I wanted to see if you had any questions before you got started on your assessment.
Technical one.
Yeah.
You talked about the credit rating, so that gives us greater capacity as well, aside from the fact that not just access to certain markets, but actual capacity. And have we quantified that?
Our CFO is working on that. We're working on two, and as well as our deputy director. That's their job. But we're working on quantifying what that looks like, and we will be we'll be able to deliver some tenets around that when we meet with the board of directors and we discuss our strategic plan.
Okay. You just triggered when you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, my ears go up.
Yeah. Yeah.
To make sure we're answering your question, thank you.
Mhm.
Your question is the improved credit rating. What does that mean vis-a-vis borrowing at the state's regular credit rating? How much more can CalHFA do because of the improved credit rating? That's the metric you're looking for?
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna get that.
We could get that
I
for
think it's important for us to be able to tell.
Yeah, it's like, how far can we go with our current, and I think we need to also balance that, of course, with our staff. We got to make sure that we have the right staff here doing that work, because that's all a part of it. Because as we grow, we need to improve our staff accordingly and bring in the right people to help us manage that appropriately. That is something that we are also working on as well.
Well, I just hear when you talk like that we're manufacturing value. We're not just trying to capture what's out there. We're actually manufacturing it by managing to a higher standard. So we're not exactly printing money, but you know, but we are creating greater value, and that's would be helpful to know. So thank you.
On there? Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you very much. And it kind of makes me think then, and something we've talked about before, which is like and I think it came up at a board meeting or two, just thinking, okay, you know, given the scope of what we could do, what are projects or programs where we can add distinctive value? as opposed to something that say HCD would be really good at, or some other entity, like
Mhm.
within our wheelhouse. What are things we could do? Because we have built the foundation for to create resources, or your term, manufacture value.
Manufactured value.
I like that. So it's one thing to have that machine in place, then what do you apply that towards? And in a way that sort of fits the mission and values of the organization, our financial capabilities, it's consistent with the broader direction of like the administration, like, it's like a Venn, to me, it's like it's a Venn diagram. And so, I mean, that would likely be something we talk about with I don't call it a retreat, the workshop. And, we've talked about that. I think that to me is like the next sort of step from there. Yeah.
Thank you. I think the workshop is top of mind, and we'll be leaning into the board to help provide guidance in this area, because we're at a precipice. It's like, now what? How do we move in this space, and how do we best support the administration as we move into space?
Right.
So I need to fire on all pistons with that. No pressure, Melinda.
So, anything else that you wanted to
No,
add?
sir, that's all I had this morning, and
Okay,
I will leave you
all right.
to do the work.
So I have a script here,
Okay.
because we're moving into item 4 plus session, which is that at this time, the committee will be entering into a closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 11126A1 to evaluate the performance of a public employee. Upon completion, we will return to the open session to complete today's business. I hope I got that right. So I guess we're in closed session. Thank you so much. Thank you all. And thank you all for your patience. We had a closed session that was productive. We're preparing evaluation of the executive director with the intent to present it to the board at the next full meeting on December 14th. And with that, I'll turn to item number 6, which is the review of the charter. This is the annual review of the charter as stipulated in the charter. And there are no recommendations for changes from staff. Any proposed changes, recommendations from committee members? Okay.
No.
I have none also. And then with that, we will turn to item number 7, other committee matters. Do the committee members have any other matters to discuss outside of catching your flight?
Good.
Great. And then item 8, public comment. And so we are asking if members of the public would have a comment matters within the purview of this committee. If you'd like to make a comment, please use the Zoom option and raise your hand. And Melissa, if you could check to see if there's,
Participant window? Oh,
thank you.
no, go to participants. There we go. And attendees. Okay, we do not, okay, so if any of the members of the public would like to speak now or provide comment, please raise your hand using the Zoom raise your hand function, and we'll call upon you. We have no hands raised at this time.
Thank you very much. Well, with that, unless there are any objections, I will move to adjournment. Any objections? We're adjourned. Thanks all.
Oh, yes, it's gavel time, Jim.
Oh. Adjourned.
You got it.